All right, all right. Good afternoon. I am getting my other social channels pulled up for comments. They're not pulling over fast enough for me to quickly respond to everyone. So as we get pulled up, I said it's about KPIs today. Show me the data. So data is very important. I'm pro data. And I don't think you have to go too crazy, but you have to get the metrics that matter to your company. And so I'll use some examples from the staffing industry. And staffing, even though it's staffing, it's not like the same as every other business, but there's so many things that translate across other businesses that I was surprised once I really got into the nuts and bolts of healthcare and of staffing is just margins and bill rates and spread and all these other and receivables and collections. So you have to learn all those different pieces as you're doing the staffing business. So let me just get my LinkedIn pulled up with comments, and now I'm taxing the system with 3 things. Give me 1 second. Almost there. And then I will have to grab a dry erase marker just because. And then my posts, go to my posts. All right, show this posts. And if you have questions, okay, I'm going to be live here in 3 chat rooms. So feel free to throw them out and I can try to address them here in real time. And talking about data, dashboards, and even cadences on how often do you check these data points. I love my dry erase marker. And of course, here it is, my trusty dry erase. So KPIs and metrics. And in most businesses, the key metric is revenue. So sometimes people lose sight of that. And I laugh and I get to joke about it, but you have to make sure week over week, are you trending? Are you growing? Do you have a growth goal? What is your quarterly goal? What is your end of year goal? And then how much do you have to increase week over week to get there? So for example, if you're at 5 million in sales and you want to grow 10% that year. So we're going to say, hey, we want to go to 5.5 million in sales. Well, that's 500 grand of net new revenue divided by 52 weeks. You've got to be growing almost 10 grand a week in billing. Oh, okay. Well, now you can actually back into that and say my average person working or my average widget that I sell is this much cost. And so I've got to sell 8 more widgets, or I've got to place 3 more people every single week to hit my end of year goal. So a very simple way to say, then now you can either have a revenue goal saying I need to make, $9,615.38 additional every week to make sure you're on track, or you've got to say that translates to 2 people working. So I have to have 2 new people working every single week to hit that new revenue goal. Oh, okay. And so then you got your revenue line. Then you might have your people working line, and I'll use a staffing example, or widget sold, whatever you want to call it there. And then what did you do the last 4 weeks? And then you want to also see what are you doing this week? So what is this week's data to say, am I on track, off track? Am I trending up, trending down? There might be some stock market activities where you kind of go like up and down like this. But over the 52 weeks, I want you to land at your goal. So you've got to net up all those people or all those widgets towards the end of that deal, right? So you got to make sure you know what the goal is week over week. And then what happens is if you really get fancy with it, there are, I'm sure, data calculations you can do and a forecast model that shows that incremental growth week over week. So if you're at 5 million in annualized sales, and that's your run rate, you can say a 52 week plus $9,615 week over week, and it just runs that formula out so that you hit the annual goal on week 52. So then you can plug in your data on actual versus forecasted to say, oh, I'm below where I'm supposed to be. And you can do a little simple color coding, red or green, in a spreadsheet to say, I'm off track. And now, if you're off track 3 weeks in a row, stop everything and figure that out. What's wrong? Pull the team in. Where are we not executing? What's not going on plan? Because once you fall too far behind, it's hard to make up all that ground if you're 20 weeks into a 52-week plan and you're miles off track. So I'd rather you catch that early. I would actually rather you see it real time and say, oh, in my weekly KPI meeting, we are below the plan. We're off track. How do we figure this out, guys? If your team's too big to figure out a revenue problem, you have different problems. So you've got to prioritize that. Otherwise, how do you know if your business is gonna hit the goal or not? Because there's no surprise. So now if you're below the plan for 3 weeks straight, well, now you're gonna be way off come week 52, and that means that you're not gonna hit your plan. You're not gonna get bonuses, and then you have to have other conversations. So I'm just trying to help you be proactive in forecasting and also maintaining your weekly KPIs to make sure you're not going to let anyone go and do an end of year layoff because you didn't hold people accountable in January. It sounds crazy to say that, but Christmas comes every year. So end of year comes every year. Are you on track for 2026? You can know that question every week starting January 1st, 2026. So it shouldn't be a surprise in December if you hit your numbers or not. You should be steadily working towards that goal. And if not, then that's a great opportunity. That's the fun of business. Hey, we're off track. What's going on? What are customers saying? Why are they not converting? Why are they not buying? Why are they buying less? Why are they buying this other thing? And get consultative with your customers and internally to figure out where's the gap, where's the opportunity, what's not resonating with the product. Oh, it's too expensive. Okay, how do we need to look at that? Do they want to buy a part of it? Do they want to lease it? Do they want to? What other ways can we sell the product in the industry, right? And sometimes what happens is a new technology comes out that disrupts, and it's like, well, you're behind schedule now. You're behind the eight ball, and you've not put any guardrails in place to say, oh, how do we double check this? How do we keep our model fresh? How do we do all these different pieces? So those are some of the things I want to just kind of encourage you to think through. The purpose of the KPIs is say, are you performing? Key performance indicators, right? So in the staffing world, I'm trying to keep it simple. I think we've got 4 right now. So I have numerous divisions. So I'll go through kind of what I do. I have a per diem division, very simple. What was our hours performed last week, and then what was our fill rate? Those are 2 things I really want to know. If we only filled 60% of our shifts, we left 40% on the table. And then my next question is how many people worked, and are we up or down? And then how many new hires did I have? And then how many of those new hires have booked shifts? So if I have 2 new hires and I have 1 person booked for a shift, 50% start rate for new hires. Okay, in per diem, that's okay. It is what it is. You don't get 100% in per diem for that model because someone's like, I'm available on every other Tuesday, and then you may not have Tuesday shifts for another 3 weeks, and that's okay as long as you keep that person engaged in your ecosystem. Moving on to my travel division. Oh, okay, travel. How many submissions did you have? And then how many starts did you have? 10 submissions, 5 starts. Good job. I'm okay with those numbers. That's my start rate, 50%. Everything's good. We're gonna make money because 52 weeks of that. Oh, we're at a lot of people working, 250 people working. That's great. Now, if I'm not hitting the numbers, this is where you can peel the onion and say, okay, guys, how many interviews did we have? We had 10 interviews. Oh, well, we only 10 interviews only led us to having 3 submissions or 4 submissions. 4 submissions is 2 starts. We're behind the plan. Why are we not interviewing more people? Well, now, and that's where the business comes in. That's where coaching, mentorship, leadership comes into place to say, what's holding us back from getting more interviews? So the interviews I actually added as another indicator while we're ramping up. I like to dial things back if we're humming, but we're still ramping up. So it's like, hey, how many interviews do we need to get to our 10 submission goal? Oh, we really need 100 interviews. Really? Are we sure? Okay, fine. Let's start that. But then how many interviews do we get? 62. Why are we at 62? Well, Susie was out for a couple days and John was doing this new thing and his email was down. Okay, so there's problems. So is 100 a realistic KPI? I'm not sure. We have to figure that out. Maybe the number is really 88 because of humans being humans, sickness, whatever else. So 100 might be the wrong goal. And I'm okay calibrating. You got to calibrate. So you don't set. I'm a fan of SMART goals and SMART setup, but you got to make sure whatever your data points are truly calibrated. Don't just say, I just said 100. Well, that's just me just picking up some random number. How many hours in the day? How many interviews can be performed? What percentage of that person's work time is productive work time as opposed to emails, admin, meetings that I set, lunch breaks, commute time, whatever those things are. A person might only have 60 minutes or 60% productive work time. Aaron, that's horrible. I'm going to have everyone work from home. That's a separate conversation. I'm just trying to help you figure out of your team's time, how much can be productive. 60%. Okay, great. Now, I still would prefer 100 interviews a week, but if I'm only 60% productive, then I'm going to say 60. Okay, that's a number. Now, how many team members do I have? 10 team members. That's 600. Oh, okay, great. We're back on track. Now we can really go back through our data and say, do we get the 100 or the 60 submissions or the 60 interviews done for the number of submissions that we need to then get the number of starts that we need. So now it's kind of just backing into all these numbers. That's all I'm trying to help you do, is to back into the numbers that matter most to your company. I don't think it's more than 6, maybe 10 numbers, because then it's easy to update, and it can be, you can get it automated. But I actually like doing some of these manual and not doing all of them, but to know where they are so that I can ask my team member, how many people did you have work last week? That shouldn't take more than 39 seconds to find. And then they can text me, email me, or we have one huddle and everyone sees that scorecard. So that's the goal, is that you can, one of my goals is to make sure the team knows what the goal is. Right now we're on a 100-day plan and we're on day 65 and we still have to hit 26 more people for that plan. Is that realistic? I think so. I've got 6 recruiters. Everyone's ramping up. And so I think as they ramp up, we're going to hit those goals. But that's, the team is energized. They have all the tools. They have the resources. There's no bottlenecks. And they've been given pay package calculators and all these other things, right? So I'm able to see now from a KPI standpoint, is everyone ramping up like they're supposed to? And then is the team hitting the KPI goals? And now I'm talking to leaders and managers, say, hey, what can we do to accelerate? Where's the gap? Where's the opportunity? So that's how I manage the travel division. The other division for us is perm. So it's a similar thought process where it's like, hey, how many submissions do I have? And then so many submissions then equals some percentage of win rate, right? So we'll call it win rate for a perm placement position. You know, how many submits do you have to do to win something? We got to figure that out. These are new KPIs for us. So we're going to calibrate for a quarter, maybe 2 quarters, you calibrate, and then determine what the success looks like. You can already have a starting point. You're hiring people, you have people working for you, but I would still think it's worth resetting expectations, resetting, hey, here's what I think success looks like. What do you think? And have that 2-way conversation, because then if a team member is bought into their KPIs that they're being measured against, then there's no surprises when they're below the expectation, below the bar, when, hey, the goal was 10 submissions this week, or even 4, I don't know, whatever the goal is, and you got 2. What's happening? Oh, do you need help? Is there a tool block? Are you blocked somewhere? No, I'm good. I had an off week. Okay, let's check in next Friday. Let's see how it goes. Boom, 5 submissions next week. Oh, we're on track. Cool, great job. Okay, and then you just have that cadence, that rhythm, to have the continual follow-ups and check-ins with everyone to make sure they don't have any blockers, they're on track, and they can win. Because you can have more data, you can have other things when you get to like the customer side of it, and say, hey, what's our customer KPIs? Are our customers happy? What's our net promoter score? Things like that with customers. Will they refer us? Are they happy with the service? Those all matter too. I'm just talking about my little business right now, where those aren't as prevalent and important, because for staffing, if you have a high fill rate, generally speaking, you have a happier customer because they're getting what they need from us, which is staff. So for you, you've got to look at your business and say, okay, how do my customers measure my success? And making sure that you're on track for whatever their KPIs are, spoken sometimes and sometimes unspoken. You got to make sure you level set expectations with them as well, to make sure that you're fulfilling what the agreement was that you guys have. So if it's a service level agreement, or if it's a volume of delivery agreement, whatever the case may be, making sure you have that dialogue with your customers as well, critically important. And then I also sometimes break down some teams. So that's what I look at from an executive perspective. But then a team will have the same thing, but just one layer down from them. So if I'm a recruiter, my recruiting team might say, hey, a best practice is $100 a day. Oh, okay. And then $100, we expect to yield 10 interviews. Oh, okay. And then 10 interviews, we expect to yield 5 submissions. So that's where you can get more granular as you go down to the team to say, these are the activities. And you might say, include in your activities if you can track it or if it's worth tracking at this granular level. I'm not sure. I don't like doing it, but it's a good general practice. If someone's underperforming, then I'll make them do everything. But how many LinkedIn messages did you send out? How many LinkedIn connections did you get this week? How many texts did you send? How many emails did you send? Those are activities. So that's it's a polite way of saying busy work. But if you're not hitting the goal, then it matters because I don't know what you're doing for 40 hours a week if you've not hit the goal. So that's where some of those things matter. I do that more of as a lagging indicator. And I give people the benefit of the doubt for 5 days. So you'll fool me for 4 days, but on the fifth day, you got to show how many submissions did you have and how many starts did you have. If it's 2 and 1, you're on track. I don't care. I had one recruiter that worked and got all her stuff done in 4 days, and she crushed the scoreboard and scorecard. And she's like, "Hey, Aaron, do you care if I'm available on Fridays when I'm at the beach? Go for it. I don't care. You're a salaried employee. You did your job. You exceeded the job. I don't need your time to be tied up just sitting in front of a desk. If you can take the calls and handle your people at the beach, I don't care." We did work it out to where, hey, Monday through Thursday, you're not doing video calls at the beach, but she produced, so you can have some flexibility as perks, as benefits to say, hey, if you're producing at a high level and you're hitting company goals, sure, that's a perk for you. And so small companies maybe have a little bit more flexibility because there's a lot going on right now about the 4-day work week. So I'm for it. I don't care. It's just more about production. Are you getting me what I need? I don't care if you have a 3-day work week. I don't know if I care. I just need what I need done. And if those expectations can be done in 3 days, awesome. If you need 6 days to do it, well, that's too much. Now you're overworking. So you got to find that balance. But KPIs are important. KPIs help you measure success. I would just say don't do an analysis paralysis where you're not having simple data that you can make quick, educated decisions from. So that's why I try to minimize it. Even just knowing your revenue. What was your revenue this week? What's your revenue last week? And then what's your revenue forecast to end at this week? Those two numbers alone will help you just to say, am I off or on? And what can I look at from a success perspective to make sure we're trending in the right direction? Because what you want to see is growth. All I want every business to do is grow. Just grow a little bit to where you can beat inflation, you can pay Christmas bonuses, and everyone doesn't get a surprise Friday layoff. So that's the purpose of some of these KPIs. And then some you should share globally. And you should say, hey, company, team, everybody, we have a goal to get to 1,000 people working by the end of the year. Oh, shoot, that's a lot of people. What are we at now? I don't know. Well, how do we know when we hit the goal? I don't know. What do we celebrate when we get? Do I get anything if we hit the goal? No. Okay. I'm just a cog in a wheel. Great. That's a style. I don't subscribe to that style personally, but that's a style. What I would propose to you and encourage you to do is say, hey guys, let's get excited about it. We hit $1,000, we're all going to go to Disney, or we're going to get everyone some swag or whatever we're going to do, and we're going to have a big, call it whatever, pizza party. I know that's lame, but hey, it's better than zero. It's better than nothing. So let's figure out something to do to celebrate and celebrate that win when we hit it. And then we show the team it's a thermometer. This is the fundraising thermometer, the goal thermometer. Get everyone excited about it, guys. I mean, we're still humans. AI has not replaced us all yet. So we've got to have these things that we're excited about that we can share with our teams and get everyone energized and rallied around. I don't think the KPI should just be some secret little meeting with, just the top people to only know the key numbers. Because if everyone knows the number, everyone understands the expectation. And then come mid-year, hey guys, we're way behind the goal. We're now actually burning money, and we're going to have a 10% reduction in Q3 if we can't get back on track in the next 90 days. Oh, shoot. Well, that sounds bad, Aaron. That sounds scary. Let's go the other way. Don't do it. Don't share the data. Don't go through the KPIs. And then fourth quarter, you don't hit the goal. And then you've got to rip out 25% of your workforce. Oh, well, Aaron, now you're mean. You fire people on Christmas. Not me. I didn't do it. I'm telling you guys how to avoid that by having KPIs and transparency and buy-in from your team on hitting those goals so that you can be proactive in communicating how the company needs to hit goals to exist and thrive. So that's my thoughts on it. And it's not to be mean, it's not to be anything. It's just to show, hey guys, I don't have to have all the answers. I want smart people to elevate around me and help get this thing done. And if everyone knows, oh, we're short some people, who's got a good idea to help figure out why we're short in the goal? Because if we weren't short in the goal, we may not need help. But if we're short in the goal, something's not working. So I need all the smart people that I'm paying a wage and salary to help figure out and help collectively problem solve and solution where's our gap. So that's why I love having more people in the room to figure out things, because you've seen this in different pieces of data that the front line has a lot of the answers. The front line say, well, our text messages come into spam, or we're our phone calls go into spam on the caller ID. Oh shoot, we got to fix that. So sometimes it's these little things that pop up that you might not be in the weeds seeing it. And if you're not in the weeds, sometimes you may have to go down the weeds to help figure out like what's going on, where do we need help, and see where the fire is, help put it out. Then you can go back to 10,000 foot view, making sure the entire company is still moving forward. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to refresh all these screens to see if there's any questions. We talked about a little bit with AI on the last meeting. There's so many tools out there that can create little dashboards for you now. They're not hard to create. I would still encourage you to create the dashboard manually, but then you're pulling all your inputs from all your system generated reports, QuickBooks or whatever else you're using. But then just go through your dashboard numbers and really do it. Make a discipline to set 15 minutes aside to say, okay, how's my data? How are my numbers? And when you do that, that will just help you to have true accountability where your business sits. So those are my pieces of advice and encouragement for you. I'm just quickly double checking any comments to make sure I don't log off before someone's asking a question. I'm available on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and all the rest. So I just want to pause here. I'm making sure there's no comments. Okay, no questions. We have one more session scheduled for next Tuesday. I have a topic for it already, but I'm opening it up for Ask Anything as well. We're going to do another Ask Anything session probably next Friday. We're trying to figure out if it's a lunchtime or an end of day with my team and figure out what's the best for everyone. So if you have thoughts on that, just feel free to comment, engage, ask questions, and I can prepare and have more pieces of nuggets for anyone who's asking hard questions. I know a lot of people in the staffing industry right now are trying to figure out where does the industry go from here. I believe the industry goes towards a collaborative environment where you have a nurse, you are a clinician, you sponsor that clinician as a W-2, and then you may have to share that person to someone else who has an open job for them if you don't have a job. So we've got to figure that out. That I'm working on a network right now. If you're interested in being part of that, please DM me. I've had several meetings already. I've already gotten thousands of jobs now accessible to my team to help make sure we can place all my people, because I'm solving my own problem. I want to make sure any clinician I talk to, I can get them working somewhere providing patient care. I hope you have the same urgency for your business, and we figure out how do we collaborate in this new normal of the environment. The staffing industry is hard right now. It's a grind. And so if you're not willing to collaborate, no big deal, but it's just it's a disservice to the patients, and it's a disservice to the clinicians that you have on the bench that want to work and are not able to work with your company because you don't have access to that job that fits their criteria. So just keep that in mind. Food for thought. I'm around. I'm Aaron Littles, and thanks for tuning in today, watching this on replay, or making a comment and asking what you want to talk about on Tuesday next week. Thanks so much, and have a great day.